Good morning, my name is Owen Keeler, and I will be discussing the most efficient rat removal method to be used in New York. As of 2022, there are an estimated 2 million rats in New York City alone. This accounts for about 25% of the population of New Yorkers, or 1 for every 4 people within the city. While this is a lot, many people ignore these rats as it is normal for their day-to-day lives. As psychologist Thomas Chamorro Music stated in the Harvard Business Review magazine, too much resilience could make people overly tolerant of adversity. Rats are an obvious issue, but what is done to stop the infestation is minimal. When analyzing solutions, you must first focus on the root of the problem. We as people have a lot to blame for infestations. As stated by Dario Capizzi, a vertebrate ecologist, food supply is the leading cause of rat infestations, and food is easily available to rodents in New York. This is due to the 500,000 tons of food waste per year that is left by restaurants on the curb in plastic bags. Rats can easily gain access to the food, being left with their sharp teeth. This is a direct result of hardcover bins not being required and trash being left overnight for pickup. These poor waste management practices attract rats and allow for them to thrive in their environment. When examining the stimulus materials, the adversity of rats was addressed in a piece titled Urban Evolution: How Species Adapt to Survive in Cities. This led me to question the effects of rats on the environment. However, most people would agree that rats are an issue that needs to be resolved. Instead, I decided to focus on a solution-based approach, which led me to my question: what is the most effective method to eradicate the rat population in New York? While a numerous amount of people might believe that poison is most effective in eliminating rats, they are often misled. Instead, rat management programs are superior in their method and provide promising results. As mentioned, a large number of people believe poison to be extremely effective for its use in extermination. In fact, poisons as well as traps account for over 60% of control techniques. Therefore, it would seem to be successful with its large usage. But, contrary to popular belief, poisons can pose more harm than good. According to a study done by the New York State Department of Health, rats having no prior exposure to anticoagulants, a blood thinner commonly used as poison, were extremely susceptible, whereas resistant rats were found in areas where anticoagulants were used extremely intensively for about 20 years. According to a journal published by the British Ecological Society, the resistance is often heritable. So if a rat had a resistance to poison was to breed, there is a chance its offspring could be resistant as well. A final reason that poison poses a risk is the possible human side effects. As stated by Mandy Isaacs-Jackson, who received her PhD from Yale, these poisons can cause possible nausea, vomiting, and cramps. To an extent, poison seems like an option that should not be used, as it can be both dangerous and ineffective. However, it can still be of use. When combined with other resources, such as block sanitation, Professor Harry Margulis found that the average population of rats shrank and stayed relatively constant. Ergo, poison can be beneficial when incorporated with other methods, specifically rat management programs. These programs aim to remove rat population and prevent them from returning. As previously mentioned, food supply is the leading cause for rat infestations. These programs intend to solve the issue of leftover food by increasing the frequency of garbage and litter pickup. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, if properties still are infested by rats, even with the introduction of these programs, they must respond to the issue or solve it. Otherwise, fines will be applied. As these programs are arranged, further research will be able to be performed to research the differences in rat species in different areas of New York. As again stated by the CDC, when indexing, a method of recording data, was included in a previous rat management program, the active rat signs declined 54%, while severe rat infestations were able to decline 58%. This is a huge decrease. Finally, concerning disease, there is an extremely low chance of contracting disease from rat bites. Nancy Coombe and John S. Marr, an epidemiologist, found that rat bites decreased by 42.3% in just a 21-month period when districts included a rat management program. Without, it was only 18%. That is a 24.3 difference. These statistics prove that the absolute effectiveness of rat management programs. The proposed plan of a rat management program is based on New York's DOH-MH program, Attacking Rat Reservoirs. It was active in over 40 programs in 2016 with greater than 90% reductions in borough counts. This program will be placed within New York in urban and suburban areas, cities, and neighborhoods. This is to be able to record data and better understand differences in rats around New York. Jason Munshi South, an evolutionary ecologist at Fordham University in New York, says that if you can understand how rats move around and what facilitates or prevents their movement, you can break down the city into more manageable units for rodent control. They would be implemented around wintertime when breeding is minimal. Along with actions previously been mentioned, others will be taken. Brick sewers, traditionally at least 80 years old, will be updated for smoother concrete, which does not include mortar like its older counterpart that will crack and allow for rats to burrow into. Public education and outreach will be provided to inform methods that can be done in and outside of their homes to assist in preventing rats. The government will need to hold landlords accountable in order to keep buildings and land continuously clean. As with any program, there come limitations. Results are not guaranteed, only hypothesized based on previous successes. A huge limitation will be keeping landlords accountable. In a rent strike in the 1960s, in all the buildings where tenants were striking, violations had gone unchecked for as long as 50 years. It will be important to maintain the responsibility of landlords to ensure proper care is being taken. A final limitation will be cost and method change. Rodenticides and poison may not ever be fully replaced due to its availability, and neither the government nor the people may be willing or wanting to invest in a program because of the time, money, and effort needed to secure a rat-free future. However, the implications for these programs strongly outweigh its limitations. Improvements are more than likely to be permanent, and a cleaner and healthier environment will be achieved for humans. In addition, jobs for exterminators and inspectors will be provided. If the program is executed in winter, Harry Margulis states that competition for the remaining sources of food increases and disrupts a colony's social organization. Fertility of the female is reduced by these conflicts. Rats will not be able to reproduce as quickly, aiding in their complete eradication. They will hardly be an issue, and it will create an environment of security, happiness, and comfort where humans, and not rats, can thrive.
How did some preliminary information you gathered inform your research?
So when thinking about rats, I automatically associate it with New York. And so I wanted to specifically focus into that area because I knew rats were a problem, but I didn't know how to best solve it.
So how is your conclusion in conversation with the body of literature that you've read or researched, or other research sources you examined? How does your conclusion align with those bodies of research?
Yeah, so my conclusion was based off of a lot of articles in which they discuss the topics of poisons versus rat management programs. So when focusing on poison per se, in articles they would mention how bad it is and how rats can gain resistance really easily. And then in rat management program articles, they would focus on how well it has done in the past and that it is usually the best method to be used. Thank you.